You're standing in a stuffy government office, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets overhead. Across the table, this woman, your ex-boss, is red-faced, veins bulging in her neck, slamming her fist down so hard the mediator's coffee sloshes over the edge of his mug.
This is a setup. You're a liar!
My husband's a cop. You think you can scam me? She's screaming now, spit flying, eyes wild like a cornered animal. And me? I'm just sitting there, heart pounding but steady, a small smile creeping onto my lips because I know she's about to lose everything she tried to steal from me. This isn't some movie script. This is my life. The story of how a heartless boss fired me after 4 brutal days on the job, stiffed me on my paycheck, and ended up handing me over $3 grand in cold, hard penalty cash. If you've ever been screwed over at work, felt that gut-wrenching mix of rage and helplessness, stick around. Because this petty revenge, it's the kind that tastes like pure, unfiltered justice. If you've ever lain awake at night, fists clenched, replaying that one unfair moment when someone in power crushed you under their heel, yeah, this one's for you. Hit that like button if you're already rooting for the underdog. Smash subscribe for more real-life tales of sweet, soul-soothing payback. And let's dive in. You won't believe how good this feels by the end. Let's rewind to 6 months before that courtroom chaos. Picture me, Gina, mid-20s, fresh out of a grueling community college program for EMT certification. I'd poured my soul into those classes. Late nights cramming anatomy flashcards until my eyes burned, practicing CPR on dummies until my arms ached like they'd been dipped in fire. The instructors? They were my cheerleaders. Don't sweat it, kid, my main prof would say, clapping me on the back with his meaty hand. Real-world training starts on the job. You'll be a pro in no time. I believed him. Hell, I had to. Bills were stacking up like Jenga blocks on the edge of collapse. Rent due, student loans whispering threats in my ear, that gnawing pit in my stomach that said, what if you never make it? Landing that first gig felt like striking gold. It wasn't some high-adrenaline ER hero stuff. It was a non-emergency transport service, shuttling folks to dialysis appointments, nursing homes, the quiet grind of keeping lives ticking. Steady pay, benefits, a foot in the door. I showed up for orientation, buzzing with nerves and hope. My scrubs starched crisp, name tag pinned straight. This is it, I whispered to myself in the rearview mirror that morning. Your big break. The office was a fluorescent lit box in a strip mall, smelling of stale coffee and industrial cleaner. That's where I met her. Let's call her Vanessa. Though in my darker moments, I just thought of her as the Viper. Mid-40s, bleach blonde hair pulled into a severe ponytail that screamed, "Don't mess with me," and eyes like chipped ice. She owned the place with her husband, some off-duty cop type who lurked in the background like a bad omen. Vanessa sized me up in the doorway, her lips curling into what might have been a smile if it reached her eyes. Gina, right? Fresh meat. Sit. No handshake. No welcome. Just a manila folder slapped on the desk between us, filled with liability waivers and a schedule scribbled in Sharpie. We don't do hand-holding here, she barked, not looking up from her computer. Figure it out. Patients wait for no one. My stomach twisted a little. Where's the training? But I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. It's fine, I told myself. They said on the job. Jump in, learn fast. Day 1 hit like a freight train. My partner was this grizzled vet named Marco, a chain-smoking giant with a perpetual scowl and hands like catcher mitts. We piled into the ambulance, not the flashy lights and sirens kind, but a boxy white van that reeked of antiseptic and old sweat. First call. Elderly Mr. Hargrove, 82, frail as tissue paper, waiting curbside for his kidney dialysis ride. I fumbled the wheelchair ramp, my palms slick with sweat, heart hammering against my ribs like it wanted out. Marco grunted, "Wheel locks, newbie, basic." Heat flooded my cheeks. I could feel the shame crawling up my neck. But Mr. Hargrove? He patted my hand, veins like blue rivers under paper skin. "First days are butterflies, dear. You'll fly soon." His kindness was a lifeline, pulling me through the strap-ins, the vitals check where I second-guessed every beep of the monitor. By the end of the shift, my legs were jelly, my brain a fog of half-remembered protocols. No debrief, no tips from Marco, just a curt, "See ya," as he lit another cigarette in the parking lot. That night, I collapsed onto my lumpy couch, muscles screaming, replaying every fumble. You're unqualified, a fraud. The doubt whispered louder than the TV drone in the background, but I shoved it down. Day 2, better. It didn't get better. Day 2. A diabetic grandma who coded mid-transfer. Not full arrest, but her sugar crashed hard, and I froze, hands shaking as I ripped open the glucose kit. Marco shoved me aside, muttering amateur hour, his voice a gravelly blade slicing through my confidence. The patient's daughter glared daggers from the doorway, her arms crossed like a fortress. You sure you're certified? She looks terrified. I wanted to sink through the linoleum, the air thick with judgment, my throat closing around an apology that tasted like acid. Why didn't they train me? The question burned, hot and unanswered, as we wheeled her away, stabilized but shaken. Vanessa noticed, of course. She cornered me in the break room that afternoon, her perfume, something sharp and floral, like wilted roses, invading my space. Heard you botched the vitals on Mrs. Ellis. We can't afford screw-ups, Gina. Shape up or ship out. Her words landed like slaps, each one stinging deeper. I stood there, coffee mug trembling in my grip, the steam rising like my suppressed tears. I just need some guidance, I stammered, voice barely above a whisper. She laughed, a short barking sound that echoed off the vending machine. Guidance? This ain't babysitting. Sink or swim. She turned on her heel, ponytail whipping like a lash, leaving me alone with the hum of the fridge and a chest so tight I could barely breathe. Nights blurred into a nightmare haze. I'd jolt awake at 3 a.m., sheets twisted around my legs, pulse racing from dreams of missed IVs and flatlining monitors. My apartment mirror showed hollow cheeks, dark circles like bruises under my eyes. Friends texted check-ins. I fired back emojis, hiding the truth. Powerless. That's the word that clawed at me most. That suffocating weight of being tossed into the deep end by people who should have had your back, only to watch you drown. Day 3. A slip with the oxygen tank, hissing gas like a serpent's warning. Marco's eye roll could curdle milk. Day 4. The final straw. Vanessa hauled me into her office mid-shift, door slamming like a guillotine. You're done. Too green, too slow. Sign here. The paper blurred through hot tears I refused to let fall. Reasons listed. Inadequate performance, safety risks. I agreed. God, I did. Because deep down, the failure felt like mine. But as I scrawled my name, the injustice coiled in my gut like a spring. 4 days, no training. And now? Nothing. Check ready? I asked, voice cracking just a hair. Vanessa leaned back, smirking. Mail it to you. We're busy. Lie. But I nodded, grabbing my bag, the weight of defeat pressing on my shoulders like wet cement. Walking to my car, rain spitting from gray skies, I let the sobs come, raw, ugly heaves against the steering wheel. What now? Back to square one, pockets empty. The betrayal stung worst. Not just the firing, but the erasure. Like I'd never mattered. Weeks crawled by, no check. I called once, twice, polite at first, then edged with desperation. When can I expect it? Receptionist's voice, hesitant. Boss says soon. Vanessa finally picked up on the 4th try, her tone dripping venom. What now? You're fired. Move on. Click. Rage bubbled up, hot and unfamiliar, mixing with the fear. Bills piled, eviction notice taped to my door like a scarlet letter, fridge echoing empty. I paced my kitchen at midnight, phone clutched like a weapon, whispering to the shadows, they can't do this, can they? That's when the turning point hit. Not with thunder, but a quiet click in my brain. Curled on the floor with my laptop, Googling late paycheck laws, state. The screen glowed like a beacon. There it was, black and white statute. Employers must issue final pay within 72 hours. For every day late, a full day's penalty wage. My hands trembled as I calculated. Base pay for 4 shifts, maybe $400. But penalties. They accrued like interest on a grudge. Day 5 late, another $100. Day 10. Double, holy hell! A sly thrill zipped through me, chasing away the chill of defeat. This isn't just money, this is power. For the first time in months, I felt seen. Not as the screw-up, but as the one holding the cards. I stopped calling. Let it fester. 2 weeks in, the mail slot clattered. A crumpled envelope. Payroll check inside for 2 days only. Split pay periods. They claimed. Incomplete. Illegal. My pulse quickened, fingers itching as I dialed again. Vanessa's snarl. What the hell do you want now? We sent it. Half of it, I said, voice steady for the first time. Fix it. Her laugh. That same poisonous bark. Or what? Sue me? Good luck, newbie. The line went dead, but her words lit the fuse. Oh, honey. Challenge accepted. Research became my ritual. Labor board websites bookmarked, forums devoured like forbidden fruit. I printed statutes, highlighted penalties in neon yellow. Internal war raged. Is this petty? Cruel? But the mirror showed a woman with fire in her eyes, chin lifted. No, this is fair. They played dirty first. 3 weeks late now. I filed the claim online, fingers flying over keys, heart a war drum, mediation scheduled, neutral ground, a chance to settle. I prepped like a trial lawyer, phone records stacked, emails time-stamped, even a letter from my landlord proving I hadn't vanished like she claimed. Mediation day, that beige conference room, air thick with tension and cheap air freshener. Vanessa stormed in, power suit crisp, husband looming in the hall like hired muscle. She plopped down, arms crossed, lips pursed. 500. Take it or leave it. This is all a scam. You set me up. Her voice rose, accusing, finger jabbing the air inches from my face. The mediator shifted uncomfortably, but I leaned back, calm as a frozen lake. No, try 3,000, with penalties. Her eyes widened, then narrowed to slits. You little... She caught herself, but the venom hung there, palpable. She ranted, I never called. I changed my number. I was the problem. Lies, all of it. But she sold them with conviction, cheeks flushing crimson. I presented my evidence packet, thick as a novel, and watched her squirm. We'll see you in court, she hissed, stomping out, door rattling the frame. In that moment, alone with the mediator's sigh, triumph flickered. She's scared, and she should be. The hearing loomed like a storm cloud. 2 weeks of nail-biting wait. Sleepless nights, but not from fear, from anticipation. That electric hum of justice brewing. I rehearsed in my head. Her excuses crumbling, the judge's gavel falling like sweet mercy. This isn't revenge, I told myself, staring at the ceiling cracks. It's balance. What they took, my dignity, my trust, I'm taking back, dollar by dollar. Courtroom day. The labor board hearing room was smaller than I imagined. Paneled walls scarred by years of disputes, a long table scarred worse. Judge Harlan presiding like a no-nonsense grandpa in spectacles. Air hummed with the low murmur of clerks and the faint scent of old paper. I sat straight-backed, folder clutched like a shield, palms damp but resolve ironclad. Vanessa? She strutted in late, heels clicking like gunfire, her husband trailing with a briefcase that screamed intimidation. She shot me a glare that could curdle milk, settling in with a huff. Your Honor, this woman's a fraud. We tried everything. Calls, mail. She ghosted us. The judge peered over his glasses, voice gravelly calm. Evidence, Missy last name? And oh, she unloaded. A torrent. I moved without notice. I never clocked in properly. The firing reasons? A laundry list of fabrications, insubordination, theft of supplies, none matching the paper I'd signed. Judge Harlan's brow furrowed. These contradict the termination form. Care to explain? Vanessa faltered, words tumbling faster. She tricked us. My husband's a cop. We run an honest business. Her voice cracked on the edge of hysteria, hands gesturing wildly, knocking a pen to the floor. The husband nodded furiously from the sidelines, but it rang hollow, desperate. My turn. Heart thundering, but voice clear as cut glass. Your Honor, here's the signed termination. Matches my performance issues, which I owned. But the pay, delayed 28 days post-firing. I slid over the packet. Phone logs, highlighted calls to their line, landlord affidavit, the incomplete check, postmarked late, and the kicker, the statute printout, penalties circled in red. By law, $100 per day late, plus the split period wages. Gasps rippled. Vanessa's face drained to ash, then bloomed furious scarlet. Lies, all lies! You waited on purpose, you bitch! The room froze. Judge Harlan's gavel tapped, not slammed, just firm. Language missed in last name. Accusations without proof get you nowhere. She deflated, sputtering, but the damage was done. Her eyes darted to her husband, pleading, then back to me, pure, unadulterated loathing mixed with dawning horror. I met her gaze, unflinching, that coil in my gut unwinding into something warm, expansive. See me now. Deliberation was swift. Judge Harlan cleared his throat. Claims substantiated. Wages owed, $412. Penalties, $2,800. That's 28 days at $100, plus 4 extra for the holiday weekend mailing. He nodded at the calendar. Total, $3,212 payable within 10 days. Gavel falls. Final. Vanessa shot up, chair screeching like a banshee. This is bullshit. We're appealing. You'll hear from my lawyer. But her voice wobbled, bravado cracking, as she gathered papers with shaking hands. The husband pulled her aside, whispering furiously, her nods jerky, defeated. She brushed past me on the way out, close enough for her perfume to hit like a slap, and hissed, "You got lucky, newbie. Enjoy it while it lasts." But her eyes? They screamed regret, humiliation burning bright. Outside, under a sky finally breaking blue, I exhaled, a long, shuddering breath that carried away months of weight. Tears came, hot and cleansing, not from pain, but release. $3,000, more than money, validation stamped official, injustice flipped on its head. I laughed, a bubbly sound echoing off the building, because in that petty weight, that calculated patience, I'd reclaimed my power. She regretted every delay, every snide word, and damn, it felt good. Karma's a quiet teacher, isn't it? Sometimes the best revenge isn't a shout. It's a wait, letting the system do the yelling for you. It taught me, don't underestimate the power in knowing your rights. And never, ever cross someone who's got nothing left to lose but their dignity. Whew, chills, right? If this tale of paycheck payback had you pumping your fist, smash that like button harder than Vanessa slammed that door. Drop in the comments. What's the pettiest, most satisfying revenge you've pulled off or witnessed? Spill it. I read everyone. And if you crave more stories that turn wrongs into wins, subscribe and ring that bell. Thanks for riding this roller coaster with me. See you in the next one. Stay vengeful, stay victorious.